So if you'd have said leave it, you were right, well done. Today I'm going to give you 6 options that may improve your Minelab Manticore experience. So the first one is ground balance. Now you don't really need to ground balance this machine here in the UK because we haven't got mineralized soil. Okay, overseas where the ground is mineralized you may need to ground balance. Don't waste time ground balancing because you'll only make the machine unstable. Now tip number 2 is the iron tone. Do you hear the iron tone? Do you use the ferrous bars? Now if you use the ferrous bars you will cut the iron tone out, and hearing the iron buzz is absolutely essential. Let's demonstrate this one in the field. You can hear the iron this way, but it sounds like a good target that way. If I turn the iron on, so the iron's blanking, that sounds sweet. You dig that, but you got no iron indication there. Okay, you could probably make an educated decision there to say, hang on, it works one way but not the other, but it's so much easier to hear the iron. Look at that. It sounds good one way but it's got the iron buzz the other way. What do you think? Would you dig it or would you leave it? I think we'll dig it, shall we? And there it is, there's your culprit, a little Roman hobnail. Now the thing what catches the multi-frequency machines out is the top, it's the roundness of it all. Thinks it's a little coin. So if you'd have said leave it, you were right, well done. I would have still dug that one, you know, because it could have been a low grade Roman coin next to some iron. Lot going on that screen, but there is some meat in that signal, isn't there? It's quite confident, although it has got an iron buzz with it. Definitely worth investigating there. That's what it is. Look, I can see what it is. It's a Roman coin, possibly a Roman coin. Listen, I'm going to take this out of the equation because I'm getting a buzz. Can you hear that buzz? And that's exactly what we were getting, and it's not a Roman coin actually. I think it's a button looking at it now, but there's definitely some iron in that target. Let's have a closer look at this. Well, I thought it was a Roman coin, but it is a button, but I think on the back there, yeah, it may have had an iron loop on it or something like that, and that's where the iron tone. So I guess on the grand scheme of things, the Manticore was giving us exactly the right information. It was saying ferrous and non-ferrous, and that's exactly what we've got here. We've got a target with both of those components within it. There you go. Turns to iron, but does it turn to iron? One target there, another target there. There it is. It is a Roman coin. There we go, bit of a high conductor. 44. Now the last 44 I dug, I think it was my first signal actually, it was lead. But it never pays to get too complacent. Well, it's not lead, it is a Roman coin. I don't even know, is that a silver one? I think that's, don't know, it's a nice one though. I'll take that. There you go. Now you can see why it's important to use that iron tone. Sensitivity. People tend to run the sensitivity quite hot on the Manticore when it's not required. If your ground will allow it, by all means run the sensitivity as high as you can. But if you've got iron in the ground and iron means habitation, you may need to make a few slight adjustments to your sensitivity. Now if I was to run this sensitivity hot, let's say 24, we'd be introducing not the iron buzzes, these higher spikes. And it's just going to make the machine too unstable for these ground conditions. So you really want to balance the machine using sensitivity, especially if you're using really low stabilizers. Well, for example, I've got this stabilizer off, haven't I? So I think even 20 is a bit high. 18. Now it's given us a shout on iron as a low tone, and we're getting the occasional clip spike off of the iron. There's not really a lot we can do about that, because we don't want to go too far down with the sensitivity, because then it'll start eating into our performance. Iron. So just having it just on the edge is absolutely perfect. Now I've heard people say you've paid a lot of money for a metal detector, you should be running the sensitivity at maximum to get the most of it. What a load of rubbish. Set the sensitivity to your field conditions. It's not all about depth, it's about putting fines in your pouch. Now this is personal preference, but I think people tend to overthink the tones. Here in the UK we just want to find out which is ferrous or non-ferrous. We're not really interested in the different coin conductivities like those guys are over in the States. So I think a simple tone setup will pay off dividends when searching for UK or even European sites, because it just gives a simple yes and no. I tend to use something a little bit different. It's called a hybrid two-tone, where your low conductors give a real low grunt, and then after your tone break it starts to raise up to a maximum of a high tone. Recovery speed, now I find the recovery speed at 5 seems to be the sweet spot for most of the fields I detect here in the UK. If you're on wide open spaces or beaches, you may want to lower the recovery just a little bit more to give you some extra depth, but don't go too far, because again you'll compromise the machine's performance. And likewise, if you're on an iron contaminated site, just turn the recovery speed up a little bit to make the machine faster if you feel that's what's required. But again, going faster will compromise your depth. So it's a case of finding the sweet spot for the field you're detecting. Repetition is a great thing when you're learning the new machine's menu. If you've got quiet time at home, just sit there and just run through the menu settings, just so when you're in the field it will save you time, because you'll know exactly how to access certain features just with simple presses of buttons, and you're not fumbling around trying to remember. So muscle memory is a really important thing when learning the Manticore. Now shortcut keys, these aren't really a performance enhancing tip, but it'll certainly save you time in the field. I like to put the bottom right shortcut key to the noise cancel. I think it defaults at the notch, and it's really simple to do. So if you're on a club dig or if you've got EMI, you don't have to search the menu, just hit the soft key and bang, you're done. I'm having an absolute blast with this Minelab Manticore. When I first got it, I didn't really understand it, and I started to make some quite radical adjustments but weren't really necessary. But now we've got an understanding together, I'm having some great fun with it. But these are all my personal preferences, they're just what I like to do. Maybe you've got something different, so why not post your top Manticore tips in the section below. It'd be good to hear from you. Bye for now.